education. Of course, Carla, of course. So good evening, everyone. My name is Lourdes Acosta, Chair of the Education, Youth, and Libraries Committee. This is Bronx Community Board 7's Education, Youth, and Libraries Committee. The agenda is as follows. So today we'll see if we have any updates from the DOE, New York Public Libraries, or CEC District 10, or the YCD. We have a presentation from Include NYC and the Childhood Development Center at Montclair Montefiore Community Center. Also, Literacy Inc. is here, and I see Sarah as well from the Williamsbridge Oval Rec Center. And Naki, I'm sorry I'm pronouncing that wrong, but he'll share a quick word about the CCRB's Youth Advisory Council. So on December 21st, Mayor Adams issued the Executive Order 291, extending the state of emergency through January 20th, 2023. Accordingly, boards are able to continue to act under the state of emergency section of the Video Conferencing Law, Chapter 56 of Laws 2022, Part WW. This allows the board to continue remotely. Minutes and video recordings will be made available on our website and YouTube channel. If you are calling into this meeting, controls while joining from landline or so by calling dial-up number, all right, dial-up number, I'm sorry, I'm a little disoriented. To hear all available commands, enter ** on your phone, *6 to mute or unmute yourself, and *9 to virtually raise your hand. We will run this meeting as follows. The Code of Conduct for meetings, penalties and actions. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove and or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images or language, personal attacks, threats, or any behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee for a ban. The amount of time to be objectively determined by the above committees of the participation in the event of repeated disruptive behavior. If in-person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authorities shall be summoned. Everyone besides the speaker/presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the raise hand button on your screen or request to speak through the chat when the chair opens the floor. Members of the public who have joined through the online link will be able to ask questions and make a brief statement on the item after each presentation and after the committee has had an opportunity to ask clarifying questions. By pressing the raise hand button on your screen or request to speak through the chat or when the chair opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed in the next meeting when granted there is time. All right, following questions, discussion, and public comment portion, the committee will begin their discussion after each presentation/agenda item and will conclude with the decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. If there are any questions related to this meeting software or to our process, please use the chat function to raise hand function now or contact the district manager. 1 second. Okay, I will now take attendance. Allow me to share my screen. Okay, Carla, thumbs up if you can see my screen. Thumbs up? Yes, that's a yes, right? All right, good. Lourdes Acosta, present. Danielle Herbert Guggenheim. Nora Fury. Oops. Yenny Medina.
Present.
Hello, Yenny, thank you. Adeline Walker Santiago.
Adeline Walker Santiago, present.
Great. Tasha Andrews. No. And Clyde Plasari. Clyde is out sick. so he will not be here. So we do not have quorum. What that means is that I can't take minutes and we can't vote to approve last month's minutes, but we do have some valuable presentations, and this is still being recorded, so we will still be able to share this with the public. So I guess with that being said, I'll move over to our presenters. First, is there anyone here from the DOE with updates? Is there anyone here from New York Public Libraries with updates? Is there anyone here from CEC District 10? DYCD? Okay, so we'll begin with our Include NYC presentation. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Maria. I see you are here. Please share any updates you may have for CEC 10.
Hi, Idris. How are you? Hello, everyone. Good evening. Maria Villalobos, CEC 10 President. Thank you for the invitation. I know we've always collided when it comes to meetings, so this is the first one for this year, and I'm hoping that I could be here more often if they don't collide with any other meeting happening. So a few updates. Our next meeting is coming up in January 24th. I will drop the link in the chat. It is a recurring link, so everybody will be able to register, and you will be able to see all of the other dates for the remaining of the year. The meetings usually happen on the fourth Tuesday of every month at 6:30. Because of the extension of the OMLs, we are having our January meeting will be virtual, but moving forward, we're going to have it hybrid. So just be in the lookout for the information. Another thing is that on January 11th, we have CCC elections and applications going through. So I will also put the link information for the new term. However, we currently have 4 seats on CEC 10 for the remaining of this term, which it ends in June 30th, 2023. So if anyone is interested in applying and becoming a CEC member, more than welcome to do so. However, again, it's only until the end of this term. There has been a few updates from last month in regards of the expansion of JBA, which is X228. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the school. And I want to say it is part of CB7, but I may be wrong. Is right on the Fordham, right across the street from One Fordham Plaza. So the proposed expansion is going on for another hearing on January 10th at 6 o'clock. So I will also share that information with you guys via email, so then that you guys have it, you can share it with your constituents. Other than that, I hope to see you guys in our next meeting. At least one of you guys will be able to come by. We're also taking suggestions. So if you guys are in communication with any principals within District 10, we're taking suggestions for capital improvement projects. And those must be submitted by January 13. However, we're asking for this to be done by January 11th, so then that we can submit this to SCA as soon as possible before the deadline. And those are the only updates that I have for now. If any questions, I'm here. Thank you.
Maria, thank you so much for joining us. I guess my first question, and this is just not only for the people, but also for myself, can you explain as simple as you can, like what is the purpose of CEC and what does it stand for again?
Of course. So Community Education Council, that's what the CEC stands for. Now, there's supposed to be 12 elected members, right? Now, we only have 8 members at this time. Then we go ahead and do elections just like if you will do it here in your board. And then we take offices. So you have president, vice presidents, first vice president, second vice president, secretary, treasurer. We're currently, again, we only have 8, and that's why we have the other 4 open seats. One of those seats is also a high schooler. So if you guys know of any of the youth that are interested in getting involved and making sure that we're hearing directly from them too, you guys could also go ahead and send them over our way so then that they could submit an application to speak up for all of the students, and not only hearing it from the parents, but directly from them. A few more things that we do is that we make suggestions for capital projects through SEA. We also go ahead and approve zonings, new buildings, relocations. We also are in communication with the superintendent's office and different agencies within the Department of Education. So then that we could, if there's any co-locations, meaning two schools coming together, these are also another way where us CEC members could have our input and gather all of it with through different parent involvement roles, which could be the parent association, parent teacher association, coming to the community board meetings, just having conversations across our district with every single body. And that's really what we do. So we are the advocates for all of the parents that are unaware or may not know and may feel like it's also a language barrier, which it's not. We do offer translation services during our meetings too. We do have Spanish. If any other language is necessary or needed, we will make those adjustments to make sure that it's accessible for everyone across the board. So I hope that answered your question.
It does. Thank you so much. And it's clear why CECs are valuable to the education like atmosphere or ecosystem. So thank you for that. And I will try to make some of your meetings. All right. Thank you for that. Our next presenter, Include NYC.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share our PowerPoint, if that's okay. Let's see. All right, so everyone should be able to see presentation. Oops. I'll go back. And I'm trying to find the present mode. Sorry, give me one. Oh, there it is, slideshow. Okay. So thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Alfonso Guzman. I'm here representing Include NYC. And today, it's my understanding that I'm just going to give you all just a quick overview of some of the work that we do, some of the work that we've done, and also how you can go ahead and use this as a resource for any work that you're doing in the community. So first and foremost, we are known as a family and community engagement center for all the boroughs in New York City. We're one of the leading sources of training and information for young people with disabilities, ages 0 to 26. Oops. And we also not only do we work with young people, but we also work with parents directly. And I'll walk you through the different ways that we go ahead and support the work we do with parents, but we also work with professionals as well. We were founded in '83, and we are an organization that believes that young people should be fully included in school, in the workforce, in the community, and that they should have access to resources, services, and supports to succeed. So I hope to give you a little bit more information on the different ways that we go about connecting families to the different resources in the community. So the other thing that we are, in addition to not just the Family and Community Engagement Center, is that we also do have a community and parent resource center for the South Bronx as well as for Northern Manhattan, and Harlem, and all of Harlem pretty much. And what that does is that allows us to concentrate our efforts in finding different ways to support our Spanish-speaking families, and the professionals that are working with our Spanish-speaking families. And I'll walk you through again some of the different ways that we go about doing that. Here are just some statistics of the work that we actually were able to accomplish in 2021. We were able to reach 585,000 families just in 2021. We served 14,000 families as well, And then we also were able to partner with well over 390 families in the community. So the ways that we do this is by way of our helpline. We have a helpline that's dedicated to working directly with parents, and some of the topics that we were able to work with parents on focus mostly on special education, helping them understand the process from referral to evaluation, help them navigate school placements, IEP compliance, and any meeting preparations that they needed to successfully participate in the meetings. We also engaged our families in, and we also worked with families on post-secondary education and employment, as well as our turning five families or families that were dealing with or working on helping their children transition to kindergarten. We also have workshops, and those workshops focused on family engagement, communication, and culture, kind of helping the families better understand how to go about improving the way that they communicate with the schools, with the other systems that may be of support. We focused a lot on transition planning. Again, the focus mostly being on life after high school. What are their young people interested in doing while they're in high school, so that they can be better prepared to successfully exit and engage in any vocational or post-secondary educational programming. And again, understanding your child's IEP, promoting positive behavior in young children, as well as advocacy skills for families. Those are just some topics, some of our most popular topics in 2021, and again, some of our most in-demand helpline topics in 2021. And again, we have several and many actually different community partners in throughout all of New York City. So in 2021, we had 396. Okay, so the ways that we do this is by way of our helpline, which I just spoke on a little bit. We do this by way of workshops. We also do this by way of engaging with families, and we do also have some programming available for young people. One in particular is known as Project Possibility. So if you know of any young people that would be interested in getting connected to a youth educator from our organization that could help them kind of brainstorm or think through what their goals are, who is 16, between the ages of 16 and 26, please feel free to look on our website, and what you'll find is more information on Project Possibility. But what you will also find is information to help you make a referral for that young person, or maybe the young person is able to do it themselves, and maybe they just need a little assistance. Then again, take a look at our website, and you'll find more information and the referral form to be able to do that. And then we also have news and information available on our website. We have an electronic newsletter known as the Navigator. If you haven't already subscribed, then I welcome you all to again visit our website so that you can subscribe and be up to date on all the things that are happening in the school system, and also kind of be in the know as to what is happening in terms of disability news. And then we have events, and I'll talk a little bit more about those events that have become kind of our annual events, and also you get a sense of all the other events that are happening or that are coming up in the coming months. Okay, workshops. So here are just some of the workshops again that we usually have available for our families. We focus a lot on helping families understand the IEP. It's a pretty dense document if you're not careful. Sometimes it's created very quickly, and sometimes it's created we don't spend enough time in those meetings helping families truly understand where their children are presently, let alone where we want to see them in the future. So we focus a lot on helping families understand their child's IEP, and also how to not just understand it, but also how to go about using it to help them advocate on behalf of their children. We have some skills for advocacy for parents as well. This is a workshop that focuses very much on helping parents, again, be in a better position to develop strong relationships with school personnel, those very same educators that are working with their children, so that they can be in a better position to work collaboratively with those professionals to help them, again, help them meet the needs of their children. Again, we have an introductory course or session, workshop on transition planning as well, which is also kind of can be a bit confusing and can be a bit intimidating if you're not fully aware of what your rights are and also what transition planning should look like. We have an insider's guide to kindergarten, parenting a young child with a disability, and busing and specialized transportation, which is also can be very confusing if you are unaware on how these different internal systems work within this Department of Ed. So we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about our helpline. Our helpline is available to families so that they can connect with an educator who will speak to them on any issue related to special education or any question related to disabilities. We focus on early intervention. We cover preschool. We cover access and intervention in schools, disability topics and resources, special education procedures, rights, responsibilities, as well as transition from school to adult life. So that's our helpline that's available for parents to use. I mentioned Project Possibility. This is some of the youth programs. We also do have other programs that focus on working inside public schools to help young people kind of stay on track for graduation. And that program is called or known as High School Launch. And we have Bridges, which is another program that's meant to develop life skills that are essential for young people to be able to not just gain employment, but sustain that employment, maintain that employment. Because I think sometimes we get a little too hyper focused on, well, how do we help young people engage in employment? But then we also sometimes don't realize that, one thing is to get to be able to become employable, and then the other thing is to sustain and maintain that employment. So it requires a lot of other skill sets that I think young people need to be able to successfully navigate the world of work. Higher education, and we also focus on independent living. Higher education, for example, those students that are interested in going into the world of college, helping them kind of understand the differences between having an IEP within the Department of Education and IDEA, special education, and what that looks like outside of the Department of Ed, because it is completely different, and it doesn't necessarily follow you. So being able to realize or acknowledge that there is an accessibilities office in a lot of colleges. Okay, and I mentioned this earlier, we include NYC as the Family and Community Engagement Center throughout all the boroughs. We are part of the New York State Education Department's Office of Special Education Partnership. And what this does is that it supports, or it allows us to work collaboratively to support and empower schools, families, and communities to improve equity, access, opportunities, and outcomes for all students with disabilities throughout New York State. So as you can see, we have an early childhood component built into this project. We also have a school age component, and then we have our regional partnerships within the Department of Education. As far as community events are concerned, we are going to be having our fair, which is coming up in February. I believe it's February 11th, and I can share the flyer so that you can have it, and you can feel free to share with your network of parents or network of professionals. And what it is that it's an opportunity for parents to come. Well, this year is going to be virtual, but you'll be able to still have access to a number of organizations. In the past, we've had well over 100 organizations that really just are there to help point out their programming available for the summer, and this ranges from camps, from sleepaway camps to community programming available to our young people. So it's just an opportunity for parents to start thinking about what they would like their children to be busy with in the summer months. And then we have an Outdoors for Autism event, which is usually takes place in the Bronx next to Yankee Stadium. And it's just a day where we invite families to come out to join us. We usually have other partner organizations that will put together activities for the children and for the families. And it's just a day where we get to spend some time with each other and kind of, just put some of our problems off to the side for a day. We have College is Possible, which is an opportunity for young people who are interested in the world of college to join us for an event that allows them to hear from young people that are enrolled in college who have disabilities, and just kind of get to learn a little bit about what college life is like. We talk about admissions. We usually have an admissions person present. We have a financial aid person present, and then we talk a lot about the different types of supports that are available on different campuses and in different colleges. And these are just some of our online resources that, again, you can feel free to take a look at when you on our site. Again, it's special education. We cover disability systems, family support, advocacy, working in adult life, recreation, and social as well. And is our URL. It's a www.includenyc.org. You can feel free to join our community. You can create a profile there. You can also share with friends. We have different social media platforms such as Twitter, Instagram. We're on Facebook. Again, you can sign up for our Navigator, which is our electronic newsletter, so you can be in the know and be aware of what is happening in your neck of the woods. And get involved. Find the latest calls to action that we have and how to get involved at Include NYC by visiting our website. And this is the number to our helpline, which I mentioned earlier. It's we have it available in English and in Spanish, but we also do use a third-party line that helps us connect with families that speak languages other than English and Spanish. And you can also find, again, digital resources on our websites. We have a YouTube channel. We have, again, subscribe to our Navigator if you haven't already, and feel free to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so forth. And I think that wraps up my presentation on who we are as an organization. Does anyone have any questions or anything that
Yeah,
yeah.
Alfonso, thank you for joining us and thank you for your presentation. Before I open up the floor for questions, I'm curious to know, where do you find you guys to have most of your impact? Like, what is the more impactful, I guess, more popular programs that you guys offer or resources?
That's a great question. So I'm gonna say that I think our helpline is definitely has been a huge success. Keep in mind we've been around for well over 3 decades. So our helpline is usually the first place where people find help, find the support that they need. Our workshops are definitely also very well attended. We've at least for our Spanish speaking families, the pandemic has really allowed us to play around with offering support groups. So we do have a support group specifically for Spanish speaking parents that we run twice a month, and that's really grown over the course of the last few years. We have one for English speakers as well. That's also pretty popular. And I would also say I think that social media has been also a very useful tool to helping us connect with parents and professionals. But I always remind people that we get funding to do this work, and I always remind professionals as well as parents to to make good use of this money, because this money is here to provide support. So if you know of someone, refer them to Include NYC. And if it's something that we can't help them with, because we are mostly education disability focused rather, um, we definitely have strong ties in the communities. So I would say just refer them, even if it's something about housing, for example, refer them to us, and we can certainly refer them to an organization that concentrates uh, their efforts on housing.
Thank you. I'll open up the floor now. I see Chad, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Good evening. Um, just want to thank you for a wonderful presentation. Two questions. Want to find out what is the best way to share this information with the community at large, our neighborhood?
So I would say that there's a few ways. If you are having, for example, something in your neighborhood, in your community, maybe an event of some type,
Mhm.
uh, you can always feel free to to reach out to us, and maybe it's something that we can be a part of. So for example, either myself or someone from the organization can come by uh, with a handful of resources uh, to get them to better inform parents of Include NYC and how they can use us as a resource. That's one way. The other one is to use our helpline. I'm sorry, to use our website. Drive parents to our website. Let them know that we're a resource. Um, and I know that in my experience, at least for our Spanish speaking families, sometimes the internet is not that useful because there's some barriers there. But if you can find a way to help them kind of navigate and figure out how to visit our website, then that's also a very useful tool.
Okay, excuse me one second. All right, thank you. And also I was thinking of introducing, you guys speak with parent associations and PTAs at schools as well,
Sure,
as far as
absolutely,
presentations?
absolutely.
Okay,
That's the other way. Thank you for actually mentioning that. Attending meetings that are where parents are that parents attend is also another way that we can also better inform parents of who we are and how to use us and and the many different ways that we can be of service.
got you. Well, I wear multiple hats, so I actually have to chair the PA at PS 86. So that'll be something that I would like to bring forth.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you have my email, right? We've been
Yeah, we do.
we okay. So feel free to reach out directly to me, and we can go and we can find a way to you know um build in some way to support either that school or any other school that you think may be in need.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think I see something on the chat. Somebody
Chad, yeah, I
said,
was just about to highlight.
okay, are the support groups planning to meet in person in the Bronx anytime soon? So right now the support groups are running virtually. Um, I hope that we can return to in person soon. I just don't know. There's still a lot of fears around COVID, and the media doesn't help with the fear mongering. So there's still a lot of there's still, like I just heard it on the news. So I think people are still a little reluctant to want to go back in person. But I hope we go back in person soon. But right now we're doing things virtually.
Okay, is there anyone? Oh, okay, Rocio, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to add to the question, Alfonso, just to let you know, parents that usually I refer them to Include NYC would like to meet in person. Again, you mentioned some points where the Spanish-speaking families might not have access to internet or log in. I pre-registered some of them, and if you are able to find a venue where you can actually gather and meet with the parents, would be very helpful. Just feedback on that. But I can refer you a few parents who are actually asking for in-person meetings. Thank you.
So are you referring to, when you say in-person meetings, are you referring to parents that are looking for assistance, like one-on-one assistance?
No, support groups.
Oh,
There's
support
another
groups. Okay.
organization that does it in person. I'm
Uh-huh.
not gonna mention it, but it would be helpful to have including YC do it in person as well.
Okay, that's really great feedback to know about. Thank you so much because yeah, we're definitely we would I mean, we have an office in on 36th Street and 8th Avenue, and we have a pretty big space. So, thank you for sharing that. And maybe there's opportunity to do it there or maybe somewhere more locally to help parents, not feel so the burden of having to travel.
Well, not to put you on the spot, but Sarah from the Williams O was in the meeting as well. I don't know if she might have any thought on that as well.
Well, how about this? Why don't I share my email address with you, and then you can share it with Sarah. Sarah, you said, and then maybe
Yeah, she's there.
we
I
could
don't know
talk
if she
off
can unmute.
Yeah, and you can
I'm
we can
always
also
talk
putting her on the
offline.
spot. Absolutely. I'll put my email as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, you can put your email on the chat as just so we can all have access to it if needed.
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone else who has any questions for Alfonso and include NYC? No, okay. So Alfonso, thank you for sharing information about Include NYC. Before we move on to our next presenter, I just want to highlight that we now have quorum. So I guess this will be an official meeting and we'll be able to take minutes. But we do have Nancy here from the Childhood Development Center, but I'll let you introduce yourself, Nancy. Go ahead.
Hi. Hi,
Hello.
everybody. I'm Nancy Dubin. I'm a mental health consultant for the early childhood centers at MMCC, Marshallou Montefiore Community Centers. We have 5 different sites that I go to. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I go to these sites, and I've been doing mental health for early childhood for many, many, many years. So Alfonso, a really great presentation, because I'm going to also talk about the challenges of having a preschool child evaluated and obtaining services. I don't have a PowerPoint. I'm going to talk about, some of the challenges that I found out through the years getting a child evaluated. And there are many, many challenges. One of the main challenge initially is getting the parent on board. Having the parents really be on board and saying, yes, my child needs to be evaluated. There's still a stigma, even in 2023, about having a child evaluated. I hear, when I talk to parents, I'm very delicate and I'm very mindful of how they react. But sometimes a parent will say to me, oh, my child is not crazy. Or, my grandmother told me that my child is going to be in a special ed class until they get married. All kinds of stigma attached to the evaluation process. And that's where we have to really be very of talking to parents and how we talk to them. They really do. Many, many parents say, yes, I want my child evaluated. I think it's really important. Other parents, his father didn't talk till he was 5 years old, so he's just a late bloomer. Or no, there's nothing wrong with my child. And culturally also look at, the culture of the parent, where they come from. So this is really a very, very important challenge, is first getting the parent on board, helping them to understand the evaluation process and the benefits of having a 3 or 4-year-old child evaluated at this age. And I always to the parent, I said, well, if I told you that your child had a heart condition, you would want to get them the best help they can. You would run to a cardiologist. Or if I said, your child had diabetes, you would also be very concerned and run to, a doctor to find out what's going on. But when it comes to mental health and when it comes to delays in children, parents are sometimes a little bit more reluctant to say, hey, yes, let's get our child evaluated. Let's see what the problem is. So that's really one of the first challenges that I have found through the years, that the parent to A, identify that there's a concern, and B, to kind of help them to navigate the, as we call it, the CPE process, which stands for Committee on Preschool Special Education, which is the 3 to 5 year olds, which is what I deal with, the preschool division of the Department of Ed. So once we get, the parent says, okay, yes, Johnny needs to be evaluated, then we have to go through the process. And the process, from the time the parent signs the till the time the parent has the meeting, could be up to 60 days, which is a long time. The process is confusing. It's very, and one of the issues is that once we refer the parent to the child to the district has to send the parent something called a CPS packet, which is the Committee on Preschool Special Education packet. The child cannot be evaluated through the DOE unless they get the packet. And the process has been very, very slow lately. I think one of the problems is that the district, and I have a very, very close relationship with the district, is that they're being inundated with all these referrals from preschools. Since the pandemic, they're getting many, 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 many referrals for children with speech delays, speech OT delays, which is occupational therapy, children who have delays with their fine motor skills. Through the pandemic, many children were using the tablet and they were on their parents' phone all the time. So they really never developed the skills that they need. They weren't playing with Lego as much. They weren't playing with Play-Doh. So when they come into preschool, their fine motor skills, which is their fingers and their they have low muscle tone. So we're seeing a lot of children who have speech delays, a lot of children who have social and emotional delays, and a lot of children with occupational therapy delays. So once the parent gets the packet, I'll give you an example. I referred a child in September 30th, I referred them to the district, and it is January 4th today. And as of today, the parent has not received the packet. And that's a long time. So usually the packet comes within 10 days, but since the district is so inundated with these referrals, the packets are going out very, very soon. So what I've been recommending to all the parents, and it seems to be working, is just go to One Fordham Plaza and pick up the CPSE packet. That seems to be working. It's just impossible to get some of these packets out. And it's really no fault of the district. The district had a lot of people who retired. There's a skeleton staff. People are working from home. So it really takes a long time to get this CPSE packet. Within the CPSE packet is the consent for evaluation. This is why the child can't be referred to an agency until they get this CPSE packet. Within this packet is a list of agencies that the parent can call, and there's the initial consent for evaluation. It's mind-boggling for a parent to get all this information without having someone help them. That's why I do, as a social worker, I always try to help these parents navigate the CPSE paperwork. They get this list of agencies, and there's like 20 million agencies that they can call. They don't know any of the agencies. So of course they pick the first one, which is A, because they look through it and they go, oh, A, which, it's the easiest one on the alphabet. And then they call the agency, and the agency, says, yes, we'll make an appointment. So these are some of the challenges. But as a mental health consultant in these agencies, I make sure that the parent gets the packet, and then I refer them to an agency that I have a relationship with. I have several relationships with evaluation agencies, so I will refer that child to the agency, and I will follow up with the agency. And did you, set up the initial evaluation for this child? If you don't have an advocate, if you don't have a social worker, I always say everyone needs a social worker in their life to advocate, to get through life. Because without someone to really advocate and without somebody to really, step up to the plate for them, the CPSC evaluation process is very, very difficult to understand. I think you would agree, Alfonso, that it's, it's a daunting process for parents to quite. So those are some of the challenges. Getting the parent on board. B, getting the CPSE packet. Once the parent gets the packet, and then I refer them to the agency, then it's the agency's responsibility to set up the initial evaluation. The initial evaluation, so that's one of the other issues with having a child evaluated, is there are not enough providers to go around. There are many, many children in the Bronx who need evaluations. There are many agencies, but the agencies are understaffed. So they don't have the psychologist to do the initial evaluation right away. But let's say that the child gets evaluated within 3 weeks. I make the referral, the psychologist. And the psychologist is the one that determines what other evaluations a child may need. For example, they may need an educational evaluation. Provider has to come in and observe the child. Then they may need a speech evaluation. Okay, so then the speech evaluator has to come in. They need a PT evaluation, which is a physical therapy evaluation, or an OT. So all these evaluations have to be in place. And this can take at least a month. So it's a long process. Let's say the child is out from the school, then they have to reschedule. So once the evaluations are all done, the psychological, the speech evaluations, and they write them up, then they send them to the district. So you can imagine this whole process. So once the district gets it, they have about 2 weeks to schedule, it's called an IEP meeting, which stands for an individual education plan meeting. CPSE meeting, it's called an IEP meeting. At that meeting, the district will determine eligibility of services for that child. I try to attend a meeting. It used to be in person, but now it's via phone, and the parent participates, the evaluation rep who explains the evaluation, the district administrator, the teacher from our school, and me and whoever else wants to attend. And at this meeting, they will go through what the findings are of the child's evaluation, what determines eligibility of services. Usually, if a child has a 33% delay in one area, they will get services. If a child has a 25% delay in 2 areas, for example, speech and let's say occupational therapy, they will get services. But to be in a meeting with a parent, and parents don't always like to ask questions. They sometimes feel intimidated. They always have a translator, so it's either that the parents knows, but it's very hard for the parent to really understand the delays, the percentages, and then they never ask questions, the parents, because they feel like they're kind of, and they don't exactly know what to ask. Sometimes they're not even explained what an IEP is. An IEP is a plan. It's a document that states what the strength, it sums up the evaluation of the child, and what are the strengths and the weaknesses of the child, and what the services will be for the child. For example, in preschool, most of the services are either speech, which is 2 times 30, twice a week for 30 minutes, sometimes OT, occupational therapy, which is also 2 times 30, and something called a SEAT. A SEAT is a very, very, very valuable person in a preschool child's life. And a SEAT stands for a special ed itinerant teacher. It's a special ed teacher that comes into the school, works individually with that child in the class. They usually work on social and emotional skills, sometimes cognitive skills. So this is a really important person in the life of a preschool who needs a SEAT. Once again, it's a special ed itinerant teacher who goes from school to school and they work with the child. Now, the problem is, which I've been finding, is that after the meeting, we have this meeting and the district administrator says, okay, Johnny is eligible to get a SEAT. The problem is that there is such a shortage of providers that a child will go for months without getting a provider, because everybody wants a speech therapist, everybody wants a SEAT. And the issue is that in a school, there's only, let's say, 2 or 3 children in the school that need a speech therapist. A speech therapist will not come to the school unless there's like, at least 10 children. It's worth their while to be in the school. So then comes the parent has to take the child to an agency. And that's very difficult for many parents. They work, the agencies don't always offer weekend. So once again, we have a child who got evaluated, needs speech services, and there are no providers. Or the same thing with SEATs.
Nancy?
Yes.
I do not mean to cut you off. I would just ask to come to a conclusion shortly.
Okay. Yes,
Okay.
yes. The conclusion is that this is the problem that faces this preschooler now, the child that gets evaluated. So I think that this is something that is very, this is why preschoolers really need an advocate to help the parent to walk through the whole process and to make sure that the child gets the services. And one way is for the parent to be proactive. I mean, I can talk to the district all the time, but the parent really needs, and that's what I try to empower the parent. They need to write to the district and they need to, call the district and say, hey, look, my child in December, needs speech. I want to make sure that, he gets speech. And I think that's where include New York City and kind of also help us. So I am summing it up.
Great. Nancy, so does your site service our district? Like, how can parents go to you for help?
Yes. I put my telephone number and I'll put my email in. MMCC has an early childhood program. We have 5 different sites. 2 are on D Avenue, 1 is on Gun Hill, and it's a regular general ed preschool Head Start program. So I can give you the information. And if a parent is interested in registering their child, they can call me and I can direct them to who to talk to. We also have one on Sedgwick Avenue. So we have 5 different sites. So it's within your district. But I'm going to put in
Please.
before, I'm going to put in my.
Okay. And I have one more question before I open it up.
Yep.
I don't have any data to back this up, but do you find that there's an increase in the last couple of years on children with speech delay? Or is
Yes.
that just, yes?
100%. Yes.
Is there something to attribute that to, or is it just?
I think part of it is that the COVID, kids were home for 2 years. And they just didn't have the parents were working, or it was a very, very difficult time. And some children will develop skills by themselves, but at other times they need socialization, need to be around other children. So we're definitely seeing, I just referred like 23 kids for a speech evaluation. So we're seeing more speech and definitely more fine motor skill.
Okay, gotcha.
You're
Does
right.
anybody have, oh, sorry.
No, I'm just putting it in.
Gotcha. I'll paste it in if anything for everyone. Does anybody have any questions for Nancy? Go ahead, Rocio.
Thank you. Nance, do you know if they have any opening spots for substitute teachers or teachers?
Yes, they
Moment?
do. Yes,
Thank you.
they definitely do. If you write me an email, I can tell you who to send your resume, whoever's interested. There's definitely openings. Yes.
Thank you. I will be in contact.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question. Wait, I have a question. Can you hear me now?
I can, yeah.
Okay, this is Tasha. I'm sorry, I'm working. My phone is just doing some weird stuff.
How are you?
How are you? So this really doesn't have anything directly to do with the childhood evaluations that you were speaking of, but you're the only person who I can think of at this moment right now who I can ask this question. So I work with a youth football team. And recently, as we all heard, there was a football player who was critically injured. And so we were talking about how do we give some kind, none of us are therapists. None of our volunteers or coaches we're not therapists. But I was wondering, and since Montefiore is in the neighborhood, we are at the Williamsbridge Oval. So the Montefiore Medical Center would be a great central location. How can we find some kind of space where our kids can talk to someone who's licensed or has knowledge on how to communicate with children and their feelings about how they might be feeling with this, this recent injury happening?
I mean, I can find that out. That's very, very interesting. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and I deal with all kinds of ages in preschool, but I can certainly, check it out. How we could, if you write me an email with your question, I certainly will get back to you on some ideas. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Terrible. I'm sure that people are having a lot of feelings about that, but MMCC is a great resource. All kinds of community, I'm in the early childhood part, but they have all kinds of community resources and they have youth programs. So if you email me, I will definitely get back to you.
Okay, great. I certainly will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, any last questions for Nancy? Okay, Nancy, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. I learned a lot and we hope people utilize this resource.
I hope.
Okay, so next up we have Literacy Inc. Gladys, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. I know we're only 4 days in, but still I say it up until about the 8th. After that, I stop. But thank you so much for allowing me to go ahead and share who we are, what we're doing. For those of you that don't know, Literacy Inc. is a nonprofit organization that promotes early childhood literacy in the Fordham and Kingsbridge area. In the Bronx, we're lucky enough to be able to have 2 neighborhoods. We have 8 throughout New York City, but 2 here in the Bronx. So we do go ahead and offer not only programs virtually in person, but we also go ahead and offer parent workshops. We have a new series that's actually beginning on the 24th of this month at 11 a.m. It is virtual. We also follow I'm sorry, my kid's in the background and she knows it's playtime here. We also follow the OML. So right now we are respecting that, especially because we work with small children. We go ahead and target newborn to 5 years old, but up until about 8 years old, they still find us entertaining. And we've actually had parents of teenagers come to our workshops and they find the information that we provide useful in communicating with their older child as well. So if you want to find out a little bit more of who we are, what we do, and how our programs run, we actually have a program tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. It's virtual, it's on Zoom, and it's actually in partnership with the BLC, the Bronx Library Center. That's one of our great partners. Our other great partner is the St. Barnabas Hospital WIC program. We also go ahead and do a program with them every month at the last Tuesday at 4 p.m., where we not only go ahead and focus on early childhood literacy, but also on healthy eating. So again, if you would like to go ahead and join into our programs to find out a little bit more of who we are, what we do, you can join us by visiting linknyc.org. And you can find our full schedule of programs on there. We are always busy, and we almost every week have at least one virtual program. And sometimes we do end up having in-person programming, but you can find us most recent calendar on our website. We also have a VIP program, which is a very involved parent, but it's actually very involved grown-up. So any grown-up that's involved in a child's life that would like to go ahead and volunteer with us, we gladly take, even if it's half an hour, that you're able to go ahead and share with us, because there is always something that you can help us with, whether it be helping us with a program or helping us put together a program. You're always welcome. So we also have that program. And lastly, we are hiring. We do have a few positions available in our organization. We have both parent engagement and community engagement. If you'd like to learn more, you can go ahead and just shoot me an email and we'll fill you in on the details. That's all I have to share. Thank you again so much for the space.
Gladys, thank you. We've missed you here at our committee meetings, but thank you for joining us today. Please share the website below. And my only question is, I guess one of my favorite things about Link is that you do have the literacy zones. I'm not sure if that is the name, but is that still active? And can you just remind people where they might be located and what it is? Just for the people who might be new in this meeting.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. And actually, I have the same conflict that Ms. Villalobos has. I'm also involved in my children's district, and the meetings just were always falling on the same. And we actually had one of our co-workers out on maternity leave. So we had to spread ourselves out a little bit more. No, but thank you. We do go ahead and share our newsletter with the community board. So you are up to date on some of our programs. I know that you guys also share us out, so thank you for that. But we also go ahead and have lit zones. Lit zones are basically miniature libraries, think of it that way, where families are able to stop by and get a book to be able to take home and grow their own home libraries completely free. These are set up in whether it be laundromats or community centers, just spaces that families visit. And sometimes we are actually able and fortunate enough that we're able to add in books for older children. So it's not only board books for our young ones, we also have picture books and even some chapter books. It really depends on who the partner is. For the Fordham section, we have, just going up the block, it's Niño de la Caridad, who is on Fordham Road and 3rd Avenue. Then we also go ahead and with our SBH partner, we actually have the reading nook that's in the wellness center and their new wellness center at St. Barnabas Hospital, which is right across the street from the emergency room. That reading corner was supplied by us, and it's also a lit zone, so you're free to go ahead and take books that are there. And all the families that visit that center are able to take books with them. All 3 of St. Barnabas Hospital's WIC offices are lit zones, so they also go ahead and provide books to families that visit. We are also at the 230 Broadway laundry mat, which they also go ahead and are one of our lit zones, as well as Marble Hill houses. And there is a pharmacy that's also on Broadway, and I'm not remembering what the address is of there. So we are in a few locations. We're always also looking to go ahead and look for new partners on where we can go ahead and set up a lit zone, as long as it's open to the community and accessible to young children. So if it's a business, if it's gauged more towards parents, it would be a maybe. But if it's a business that's targeted for young children, then it would be a definite yes. And you can go ahead and reach out to me if you have an idea of where you would like to place a lit zone in the community.
Okay, and then can you see the chat? Caroline added a good question.
Yeah, it would. We would have to check it out. Also, because they are books, it would have to be an enclosed space, right? Whether elements would affect a books. And the last thing we want to do is have a child receive a book that's not in optimal condition. We want them to go ahead and keep them at home and be able to treasure them and grow with them. So as long as it's somewhere where that's feasible, we can absolutely do that. We would be happy to look into it.
Okay, Naki, go ahead.
Thank you, Luis. So yes, my name is Nakai Cruz. I'm with the CCRB. Yeah, it's all good, man. I appreciate you. So I was wondering how our organization's able to donate like new books to Link NYC.
Yeah, absolutely. We do go ahead and accept donations. And you can go ahead and shoot me an email. We can coordinate. We would have to put them through a process where we go ahead and vet them, just because there are some that we're unable to go ahead and accept. But if we're more than happy to take donations. On behalf of you receiving the donation firsthand, thank you so much for wanting to give back to the community. That's one of the great things that I used to be a parent first, a parent volunteer with Link, and now working with Link, it's very important that the community contributes back to the community. So any opportunity that we have for that to happen, we'll be more than happy to go ahead and accept.
Awesome, thank you. I'll reach out to my colleagues and we'll get something together and I'll send you some email.
Thank you.
Great. Any last questions for Gladys and Literacy Inc.? Okay, thank you, Gladys. Thank you for joining us. Next, we have Nakai from the CCRB. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you, Luis. I appreciate that. My name is Nakaya Cruz. I'm the Bronx Outreach Coordinator for the Civilian Complaint Review Board. I also wanted to acknowledge the good work of Montefiore, Mashalu Montefiore Community Center, and Include NYC. We've done work with them in the past and worked at their food pantries, and as well as done workshops with Include NYC. So I wanted to acknowledge them. What I want to do is just do a quick update about the CCRB's Youth Advisory Council. We are now accepting applications up until January 31st. It's a team of young New Yorkers ages 10 to 18 that help us do our job. They serve as liaisons to their community and inform us about police community relations on the behalf of the youth in their communities. So it also, of course, looks great on like college applications, civic engagement, and they see the different different job opportunities that are available to people, when you're working for the city. And it helps them build their network. I'm gonna include that information in the chat. One thing I wanted to do is, if I have time, it's gonna be 2 minutes, is share what our previous Youth Advisory Council did. And it's what they did was a public service announcement, and they worked with a film production crew to develop their own public service announcement. And I'm just so proud of them. I wanted to share with you all. So bear with me one moment while I share my screen. Just a quick thumbs up if you can hear it.
It's supposed to be like any normal day. My friends and I just finished playing basketball and we're heading home. We didn't realize there was an officer behind us. And when we saw him, we pulled to the side to let him pass. He got out of his car. He shoved us against the fence and asked us questions like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" And I didn't know what to do. I just told him we were playing basketball and I was heading home, but he didn't believe me. He ended up putting us in handcuffs, put us in the car, and took us to the precinct. My mom told me to call the CCRB. I called them, filed a complaint against the officer, and they turned my complaint into an investigation.
Police misconduct affects us all, and my family experienced it firsthand. My name is Emerald Garner, the daughter of the late Eric Garner, and the CCRB was there for both me and my family. The agency launched an independent investigation, prosecuted the officer, and ultimately he was fired. The CCRB is an important resource for all New Yorkers, especially young people. If you encounter police misconduct, call the CCRB.
Every New Yorker has a right to be treated with respect during an encounter with the NYPD.
We feel like that right has been violated at any time or any place.
Report it to the CCRB.
And we're working to get this message out to young people.
police misconduct affects all of us. And we want you to know that the CCRB is here for you.
The agency investigates police misconduct by the NYPD, so call and report.
And we still have a long way to go in improving police interactions with young people.
But the city is committed to involving us in the conversation and making sure young people are a part of the solution.
So that's just a sample of some of the work that the youth have done with us. In addition to that, we also teach Know Your Rights workshops. I'll be including all my information in the chat. And yeah, feel free to reach out to us, and I look forward to partnering with you all and seeing Montefiore Community Health Center again as well. Thank you.
Nakai, thank you. That was an amazing piece of work put together by the Youth Advisory Council. I guess, you know, one of the realities of growing up in the Bronx or in this district, or really in many, just most places overall, is that a lot of us do encounter police misconduct, I guess. I didn't always, I guess I would have personally benefited from knowing about the CCRB as a young kid, but I have been able to exercise that as I became older. So I think not only is it important to know to file a complaint, but it's important to know your rights as well. So I'm glad that you're educating the youth on those issues. I'll open the floor up. Alfonso, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, hi. Yeah, that was a great presentation. Thank you so much. We've worked with the CCRB in the past at Include, and you guys have always been really supportive and helpful. And I was just wondering if, because actually, you know, we've as Include NYC, we've tried to find ways to support the police department and the way they interact with people with disabilities. And I was wondering if you know of any work that's happening to support NYPD and how they understand or how they approach, I guess, people generally, but also how well they understand disabilities.
Thank you for your question, Alfonso. I'm not too privy with the training that they're receiving now. What I can tell you is what our assistance unit has done, and you know, we developed in the last 2 years a civilian assistance unit, and I hear you, Mr. AJ the artist as well, and that's something that we do address when we are encountering, you know, members of the community, especially youth who may have experienced trauma, or you know, if any individual has disability, and how we can reinforce and support them and provide them resources. And although the CCRB's primary role is education and investigations and prosecutions, we do partner with a lot of other agencies and organizations that specialize in a variety of tools and, you know, and specialties. And so, you know, it does trouble me to like read the experience that Mr. AJ the artist went through, and Alfonso, I hear you loud and clear in terms of the issues that can arise when a member of the force is interacting with someone who has a disability, whether it's like we were talking about speech impediments earlier. I grew up with a speech impediment. I would have benefited with knowing that CCRB existed at the time that I had a lot of encounters as well. And so, you know, it's important that we, as everyone here I know is truly feels this in our heart, it's important that we support our youth coming up, and we, you know, have their back. And, you know, we've all been kids, so we know that, you know, sometimes we do things that we're not supposed to do. But at the same time, you are still entitled to be treated a certain way with respect, professionalism, and courtesy. And you do have your rights. And I do these workshops, you know, my team and myself do these workshops anywhere, whether it's a staircase, you know, a house of worship, Rikers Island, it doesn't matter. 7 days a week, including nights. So what I would love to do is follow up with each and every one of you and develop just different avenues for us to address your specific concerns. So yeah, I'm gonna put all my information in the chat and let's get to work. Thank you for your question, Alfonso.
Thank you, Nakai. I'm definitely gonna see if I can post that link to that public service announcement in the minutes. It's a beautiful message. Anybody else? Any last questions for Nakai? Okay, last but not least. Oh, I'm sorry. Gladys, go ahead.
Sorry, so when I actually saw this on social media and I was intrigued by it, and because I have a 10-year-old now. So that's just on a personal note, but more thinking community-wide, because the age range is 10 to 18 years old, are they meeting together as a group, or do you separate it 10 to 12 in one section, 13 to 15, and then 16 to 18? Just because I think some of the topics might be a little heavy for a 10-year-old going into conversation. So if you could just break down maybe a little bit more of how these meetings are, that'd be great, because that way we can also share out with other parents and just give a better idea of what that looks like. Thank you.
Awesome question, Gladys. Thank you for that. So yeah, like we do cater to each child's like distinct skill set and where they are in terms of their awareness and their comfortability. And not all of the projects are the entire cohort of YAC. Like you said, some of the cohort might be 18 getting ready to go to college, and some of them might be 10 just in the midst of elementary school, right? And so we've gotten, the reason why we at first we had it at age 16 to I think 24 like 3 years ago, but we received a lot of complaints where minors like age 10, fourth grade, where their parents were having to file complaints because of these issues or because of police misconduct. So what we do is, whether the child has to prepare for college application letters, or if the child is, on the younger side and we're addressing something that might be more like traumatic, to be quite frank, to deal with that, we do take that into account. And, we work with them and the parents as well directly. And whatever the schedule may be, it's centered around the children's availability and the parents' availability. And so we always take that into account, and we work with them every step of the way, the parents and the child as well. And I'll be happy to actually have conduct a meeting with you and my director who oversees the whole operation, and she'll be better to inform you with the specifics about that.
Okay, once again, thank you, Nakai.
Sorry, one last one.
Okay.
And you work
Go
throughout
ahead.
the Bronx, right? It's not just
yes, I work throughout the Bronx, but we work throughout the 5 boroughs. And and if I'm not available, someone else will be, but we're always going to be available to be where we need to be for you guys. So just, yeah, I'm going to email everyone that had their email out, and feel free also to contact me. Feel free to send my email to whoever you feel is best. Shout out to Chad as well, because I know he attends our board meetings often. So thank you, Community Board 7.
Thank you. Okay, last but not least, Sarah, Williamsbridge Oval Rec Center.
Hello, can you hear me okay? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you. So for Williamsbridge Oval Rec Center, we're located obviously in the Oval Park, and we do have some more spaces that just opened up for our free after school. So it's a program Monday through Friday between 3 and 6 p.m. They do homework and then sports and fitness and art activities. That is free, and if people are interested, I have my email in the chat. They can email me or go to the park's website. We also have some more programming for teens. We have a basketball league that is getting ready to go at the end of the month. So if you're interested in that, boys and girls, basically anyone 8 years old to 16 or 18, I guess. And then we are also having some college and leadership programs that's happening at the center. And ping pong and 8-ball pool for teenagers. We're really trying to engage. So if people are interested or if they have groups that want to come to the center, we're open to that idea as well. And we just started a program called Learn Your Gym. Normally, our fitness room is only open for 16-year-olds and up, but this program that runs Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 o'clock allows 13, 14, and 15-year-olds to use the fitness room under supervision, and they are learning how to use the equipment properly and also doing a HIIT workout with it. So we have some other special events coming up that I'll be sending flyers out for everyone. But to keep that in mind and looking ahead, we are planning for an art and music festival in the spring. So if any organizations want to be a part of that, different ways to showcase what they do and just running a table on a project. And also our spring egg hunt is coming up, which is a big event that we have the day before Easter. So again, you can reach out to me through email or give a call to the center.
Hey, thank you, Sarah. Quick question. You mentioned that you're open to ideas of anyone who might be able to bring a group of children. Can you give an example of what that might entail? Maybe like a classroom from a local elementary school to utilize the facility?
Sure. So we actually are also even working with school groups from PS 56 and PSMS 280, where teachers are bringing their kids here during the school day to do activities. So we engage them in sports, and if the weather's inclement, they usually come inside to do like an art activity, or if it's too cold, they'll come inside. Occasionally, we also will actually go to the schools to do the programs. We've had great success with this because really a lot of them don't get that much time outside, and we've seen the teachers say like the kids are getting along better, and just a way to get out some energy, during the school day. And another sense of that, if someone has like we've worked with like sports teams before, and if someone just works with their own little group of kids or something like that, if they want to come in, because we have the game room and the fitness room, if they're age and they get the free memberships, then we can look at some more. But we have like a hip hop hit class, which is really geared for teens. We're looking for, we have a music industry. He teaches people how to get into music, about writing and doing outreach on that. And we're really looking to pull more teenagers in. So if anyone has that outlet or ideas, feel free to reach out.
Great. Does anyone have any questions for Sarah and the Williamsbridge Oval Rec Center? I will say that I accept any challenger. If you have anyone who's nice at ping pong, I will happily challenge them. I'm pretty good. And I might even check it out one day.
Is that a challenge?
Yeah. It's a challenge, open challenge. All right, cool. So any last questions for Sarah? Anyone? Okay, is there anyone I am missing? Because if not, we will adjourn the meeting.
I had a quick question. Any news on the scholarship from the Yankees?
No word yet. I'm reaching out to our district manager to see, because I know this is around the time where we get information on that. So more soon on that.
And hopefully the Mets, if there is one.
Yeah, hopefully there is one.
Hopefully.
Okay.
I hope so. They spend a lot of money on their on new players.
Exactly. We want to see some of that for the youth.
That's right.
Okay, I see someone has their hand up. Go ahead, Adeline.
Hi, I'd like to know when we could discuss the, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? I'd like to know when we can discuss the, probably changing the meeting date to the second Wednesday of the month. If everyone's okay with
Yeah.
that? Can we ask?
Yeah, I hear you. Adeline, I'll put out a little message to the entire committee to see if they are, to see which days, because either way, we have to change the date for this semester, because as you know, I'm in school, so I can't meet the same day I could have last semester. So I'll put the
Oh,
date
so
out
that's good.
and consider your inquiry.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate
Just look
it.
out for an email from me before the end of this week.
Okay, thank you so much.
Great, great. So with that said, motion to adjourn the meeting. Adeline, a little help? Somebody, Tasha?
Motion, I second the motion. I'm
All
sorry.
right. No, it's cool. Thank you. Thank you. So we are done. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I hope to see you the next time. If anyone has any recommendations on who to invite, any recommendations on who might be valuable for the community to present here, let me know. We want them here. Everyone have a good night and Happy New Year.